Hey, this is Edwin Dearborn, another edition of Growth Driven. How are you? Today, we're going to be talking about business strategy and resources. You've got to be able to identify, you've got to be able to leverage, you've got to be able to empower and nurture those resources, and that's today's discussion. Good morning here from Edwin Dearborn here on Growth Driven. If you're developing a business strategy, marketing strategy, you've got to wrap your wits around this topic called resources. Resources is an important element often missed when people are developing a strategy, and that's if they develop a strategy. So let's say you have some type of strategy, what quality it is, how in-depth it is, I don't know, but let's just say you have something. One of the things that I find omitted, missing within a strategic play is a full assessment and identification of resources. So let me just kind of give an overview. And I know that somebody from Harvard would say, okay, I'm omitting a lot of opportunities for resources, but I just want to give a short list. A resource is anything that you're going to use or leverage in your favor to gain an advantage. I'll say that again. It's anything or anyone, it could be natural, organic, personnel, money, finance, that you're going to use to move you from point A to point B in an efficient and strategic and advantage play. So if I'm a small business, my resources would be opportunities to get loans, my location of my business if I'm a brick and mortar, partnerships, my employees, technologies like marketing technology, organizational technology, software, AI, CRMs, local PR opportunities with the city, with the police department. It's anything that I can use, whether it exists in the natural world or whether it exists in the digital world or whether it's people or money, finance, or spaces. It's something I can use to move me forward, to move my success in the direction that I want to use it at. One of the common things I do with people is I just lay out a very simple strategy. What's your goal? Let's articulate it. Let's lay it out. Let's be specific. And let's assign a date to it and some type of ability to measure it. So it could be, I want to create $1 million cafe generating $1 million in sales by the end of 2022 in the city of Henderson, Nevada. That's your goal. Great. What are your resources? Do you have the capital? Do you have access to capital to build it? How are you going to get employees? Who they are? Who's going to be your manager? How are we going to leverage technology? Who's going to be our bookkeeper? How are we going to attract new business? How are we going to leverage influencers? What is our system to hire people and train them? I've got to have that fully laid out. Otherwise, I get surprises or I become forgetful about important elements to grow my strategic moves and to develop my tactics. So a lot of people go, well, that's, strategy and resources. It all sounds great, Edwin, but that's for, established businesses. That's for people with a lot of money for an existing business. But I would argue that strategy and your ability to leverage your resources is actually more important with the less you have. So you're not going to get the resources you want if you don't know how to leverage the resources you already have at hand. There's that Tom Hanks movie, and this is a classic example, where he's stranded on that island. And he's got a volleyball, and he's got an ice skate, and he's got a few other items washed up from the FedEx plane that crashed. And he's got some natural resources of the island. And he's got to figure out, how do I use what I have, albeit so little, so random, but yet I've got to, in an intelligent and clever manner, use what I have to get where I want to go, which is off the island and back home. And very often, That's where most solopreneurs and small business people and entrepreneurs sit, is they're sitting on an island with so little resource, but yet they've got this big dream. And I tell them, you're like the actor, Hank. You're on the island. You've got an ice skate. You've got a volleyball. You got a few washed up items. That's what you have. So we've got to get bright and intelligent to use those to start moving you forward. And then when you get back home, you'll have access to even more resources and you can grow from there. That's really what a strategy is about. That's the viewpoint that you should go in with it. And so when you have the resources you have, you've got to nurture them. That's really a key point here on this talk, is regardless of what you have, you've got to nurture it. You've got a small relationship with somebody, continue to add value at it. Continue to nurture it. One day that relationship may be a joint venture partnership, a co-branding opportunity that opens you up to thousands of people that become your clients. Maybe you start nurturing your public relations in your community, and little by little, the network's going slow, but now you're making the rounds. You're starting to develop an email database, a CRM of the people you've contacted. They know who you are. They start talking you up. They start sending you referrals. It's important that you nurture and care for your existing resources, because if you do that well, Mother Nature, God, the law of karma, whatever you believe in, will give you more resources. When you are good at assessing and managing and nurturing existing resources, life tends to reward you with more resources. So get good with whatever you have, even though it may be paltry and small. Get really good at caring for those, nurture those, become a good steward of resources, regardless of how big or small they are. And when you become a good steward of your resources, life will give you more resources to steward. And that's just how life works. This has been another edition of Growth Driven. You make it a great day. Bye-bye.